This deal is so good that I can hardly wait to read the net tomorrow to hear what people have to say about what we did. 94 different Beanie Babies.
We're going to give you the $400 Maple Bear free in this package. Look at that.
Here's the deal. Are you ready? You are going to get every single current American Beanie Baby release. That's a $400 Beanie Baby.
By itself.
By itself. Maple, Princess, Aaron, Peace, Glory, $21 a piece. Oh, what we got? Zip. Make sure I've got them all right. Zip the cat is now bringing over $100, and it just retired in May. Hippity hoppity and floppity. Rumor has it they're going to retire. I've heard this. Something could happen September 1st with the Princess Bear. Do you know if that retires, that bear alone will cover the price of everything? That bear alone will cover the price of everything. Maple's $400. You want to know something? If you can afford it, buy it. This deal is so good.
Chris with Journos, Comics, and Pop Culture. I hope you guys enjoyed this clip from Don West in the 90s selling Beanie Babies on your QVC TV streams. This conversation here is going to really address something that I think a lot of people are realizing, or at least believing there to be valid parallels in what we saw in the 90s with Beanie Babies and what we're seeing today with comics. Before we get into it even deeper, folks, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please take some time to do so. Check out all the links in the description below, including the link to today's sponsor, SpiderDudeComics.com. But before we get into the video even further, I want to take less than 60 seconds to talk about SpiderDudeComics.com.
Today's video was sponsored by my good friends over at Spider Dude Comics. You can check out their links in the description below. You guys can save 10% off of any order by using the code JOURNOS10. This code never expires. And also, if they have any other promotions going on their website, you can always piggyback the JOURNOS10 to get that extra 10% off as well. You can search by Marvel or DC or certain ages like Silver to Golden, or your favorite characters like mine, Spider-Man. You guys could see a little bit of what they got going on here. Again, Silver Age to modern books. Stuff is extremely well priced. If you know me by now, you know that I only push those that I truly support and that I truly believe in. So again, guys, go check out SpiderDudeComics.com. You can also follow them on Instagram, and you can check out their YouTube channel by finding their link in the description below or finding their YouTube link on their website.
All right, everyone, let's dive right into this. So with the advent of whatnot, as you all can see that I have pulled up on the screen here, ever since COVID, the online comic selling market, even more, to the point, the online live auction has dominated the comic book industry and marketplace. And as you all know with whatnot, it's not just comics. You guys can see here, there's the cards, the pack breaking, live streams, Pokemon. This is really the new age of selling. And we even know that eBay Live providing the same type of platform. We even have other apps, companies coming out like Drip that are trying to compete with whatnot as well. But what does this mean for comic books? And I want to go to the Don West snippet here again and look specifically just at the energy and the rhetoric of what is being pushed. Where if you take pieces of the selling point, saying like, this book is, this Beanie Baby has been, canceled. It's like, it's no longer in production, or what, if they cancel the Princess Fair, it's gonna and that's gonna be the price of the whole set. $2,000, by the way, folks, $2,000 for this Beanie Baby set. And if you don't know, which I'm sure 99% of you watch and know, Beanie Babies are absolutely worthless at this point. I remember maybe about 10 years ago, I still had some Beanie Babies. I couldn't sell them in a garage sale. I'm not even lying. So the question that I ask you all today is this type of selling and pushing going to push comics to be this day and age Beanie Baby. Now, I'm going to answer my own question for all of those that might be out there saying, yes, Whatnot is for the birds. They're pumping and dumping this and that, and it's not good for the hobby. Well, I'm going to break it down first and foremost like this. We have to stop looking at comic books as this non-nuanced collectible. And I recently did a video talking about, stop believing the lie when discussing modern books, most importantly. And I talked about how modern books, as soon as you buy the majority of modern books right off the shelf, you pay that $3.99 or now $4.99 or even $5.99 cover price. As soon as you buy that book and walk out that store, it's almost like any other commodity that you can buy out there. And no, commodity doesn't just mean essential good like food and water. A consumer good is a commodity. So I'm talking about any consumer good, like you buy a car, you drive it off the lot, it depreciates in value right when you drive it off the lot. You buy a TV right when you bring it out of that store, it depreciates in value. The same with the majority of modern comics. As soon as you buy them, they're not worth that cover price anymore. Good luck. And I told people in the comments that were disagreeing with me, I said, go into your LCS, buy every new release that's sitting on the shelves. Every single one, $3.99, $4.99 cover price, whatever. And then a year from now, try to sell them all for cover price. I guarantee it won't happen. Or try to sell them all. And I told him, if you break even, I'll give you $1,000. So we have to stop looking at comic books as this non-nuanced entity, because comic books aren't just simply a collectible. All right. Modern books are different than copper, are different than bronze, are different than silver, are different than golden. Which books, the intrinsic properties of those books, first appearances or not. Of course, you got print run that comes into account and all this stuff from the different eras, etc., etc. But the bottom line is they are not all created equal. So if you think that the comic book as a whole is just going to lose value based on a current marketplace trend, then I humbly state that you are wrong and misguided. Because the reason why we call investments blue chip investments, and the reason why we look at precedent to gauge value, is because something that's done something on the market for a very long time, as a collectible, as a stock, as any type of investment, it means that it's going to hold that precedent into the future. So Whatnot in this new age of selling, or the YouTube, or modern flipping, or the pumping and dumping, it's never going to devalue the intrinsic properties of your blue chip keys, or of the collectability of the eras before us, before the modern era. Can they influence the market for any book? Absolutely. I mean, look at what COVID did. I mean, every book, you have even Silver Age blue chip keys that have seen solid dips just because of the COVID boom, so to say. But obviously, it's not taking away their collectability. It's not taking away their blue chip categorization. And if you look at a lot of books, not even blue chip, but just solid keys, they are still above the floor. They set a new floor above the values that they were sitting at pre-COVID. But now, let's flip the script and get back into what type of detriments can this type of selling platform do for a certain type of book. And when you look at Whatnot, and you go to certain sellers platforms, and they may be pushing moderns or variants, or the manufactured scarcity of these exclusive variants and incentive variants, etc., etc. There is definitely something to be had there, to where you have to look at the fact that these things, these products, do not have precedent to hold value as an investment long term. But I'm going to tell you all something. This has been the case before Whatnot. This has been the case before the online selling platform. It really boils down to how we regulate ourselves, because at the end of the day, to me, once again, you could call it what you want. you could call it pumping and dumping. You have to regulate your emotions and you have to regulate your purchasing decisions when you're buying comics. If you are going to now, I get it. Like if you go back to the Don West video, I get it. There's rhetoric in there that drives emotion. But at the same time, if you look at what was going on back then, was he wrong? Was he lying? Was he lying about the values? Not for then. But the value was based on the reactionary emotion, or shall I call, dare I say, the FOMO, rather than intrinsic value that can last. Now, I want to go to the chicken or the egg argument when it comes to reactionary emotional value that's pushed by FOMO or long-term intrinsic value. What comes first, the chicken or the egg, when it comes to selling on the FOMO? Is it the fact that we get the FOMO because of sellers like Don West hyping these things up in such a way? Or do we get the FOMO, which then allows for people like Don West to bring that energy in? And the bottom line here, folks, that I want you all to understand is it is the chicken or the egg. There's no what comes first. We can't blame one or the other. They both have to happen at the same time. They drive each other. So if you are FOMOing out and you're buying something, whether it's comic books or not, based on that FOMO emotion, and it loses value, and then you're holding the bag and you want to blame somebody on whatnot that's hyping it up like there's only 100 of these in the print run and grab it now while you can because, watch, they're going to be flying on eBay in a month. If you're allowing that to get to you, and then you can't point the finger back at it. Now and here's where some of you watching are going to take my words and twist it. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be held accountable, because I, as somebody that sells comic books, I, as a businessman, I hold myself to a standard of ethics. And I would never push books that way. Never. It's not how I do it. But you can't blame the salesman for using tactics that work because people, grown adults, by the way, can't regulate their emotions. So now I want to shift the conversation again. This is kind of the conclusion of what I want people to take from this conversation today, because everyone's still going to have their opinions. And again, I do want everyone to leave those thoughts below. Whether you agree or disagree with what I'm saying, or whether you want to add on to your feelings about where the market is. And again, and this is what I always tell you guys when you're watching, and I want you to critically think about these things. Everything's not so black and white. So if you have a certain feeling about whatnot or the modern platform of selling comic books, don't look at it as a black and white thing. Break it down. Break it down. I'm challenging you guys, and leave your thoughts below. We, just like every step in the technological revolution, how we evolve in the age of information and technology. Technology can be used for the greatest good or the worst of evils. This online market platform is absolutely the future, and there's so many benefits. On one end, and this is what people don't understand about Whatnot, on one end, Whatnot is flooded with so many sellers that never had a platform to sell before. You have so many sellers in one place that it's actually bringing more supply to the market than ever before. And what can that do to us as buyers? It can allow the cost of these items, of these books, to actually drop, because as the supply goes up, what does that do to the value unless the demand continues to surpass supply? There are good deals to be fetched out there on Whatnot in some cases, but yet it is marketed in a way, or the algorithms are set up in a way to where we feed off of the big shows and the big sellers, and you get so many people in one sale at a time, and then you only have the supply of that one seller and the demand of 200 and 300 people in that one room at one time. And then, of course, books can, supersede what may have been the average fair market value that was holding on at eBay or et cetera, et cetera. But there are still good deals to be had. There's still very positive attributes about this new revolutionary marketplace. But yes, there's going to be people that are out there that are pushing the emotion. And just because somebody is a salesman doesn't mean that they are unethical. It doesn't mean that they are lying to you or stealing from you or pumping and dumping or, doing something that isn't simply running their business accordingly. If somebody is in the business to sell incentive variance and their energy is just one that's excited, there's nothing wrong with that. And I've said this many times before, and I'll say it again. People get excited about incentive variance because they know that it's limited and they want it now. And maybe it's just about them having it and not caring about future value. I've done polls on this, folks. I've done polls. People will drop money on incentive variance because they simply want it and they're okay with FOMOing out over it. Some people aren't, though. You have to regulate your emotions in your purchasing decisions. And while I'm all about holding everybody accountable, we want to exist in a community and in an industry and in a marketplace where we as sellers can trust that, we can get products and comic books that we want for a solid price. We want to be able to trust sellers so we could still have fun in this hobby. And sellers want to trust that they can come out here and they can have fun and they can make money. I get that. And accountability is needed on all fronts, including the accountability that we hold for ourselves. And I always say this and I'll keep repeating myself. So, what does that mean for the future of comic books? Do I think that certain elements of comic books might go the way of Beanie Babies? I think there are elements there that we have to be careful of. Absolutely. I do. I still think that FOMO is out of control. And I do believe that sellers are some sellers are absolutely feeding into that emotion. But like I said, it's like, chicken or the egg. I'm not sitting here pointing a finger at either one. I'm looking at both of y'all being, two peas in a pod. 2 peas in a pod, baby. Like, I'm good. I'm over here doing what I do. I'm working on my Amazing Spider-Man Silver Age Grail run. Thank you very much. Right? Regulate yourself, guys. Comic book collecting should still be fun. Collect what you want. Don't act on emotion. And like I always say, don't think you need something right now. If you go into it and you know you got the money and you know you want it, make that choice and live with it. If you feel any hesitancy, then maybe you need to sit on it and wait. And if you miss out on it, then you know what? You can live with yourself and miss out on it and wait for the next thing that's going to make you happy as a comic book collector. Okay? So, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Be well, and until next time.